Office Hours, weekly live show brought to you by the team at Bunker Labs, national network of veteran military spouse entrepreneurs dedicated to helping grow our ecosystem. I'm your host, the one and only Iron Mike Steadman, coming to you from the Brick City, Newark, New Jersey, joined by my co-host, Amy Warrington, and our guest today, Xavier Clarke, Director of Growth Programming at Bunker Labs. What's going on, y'all?
Morning.
Hey, it's an honor and pleasure. Thank you for having me, Mike and Amy.
So Xavier and I are two fellow Marines. We've both been in the bunker ecosystem for quite some time. Excited to talk to him today about veterans and residents, something that's near and dear to my heart, as that was one of my launch pads. You know, it was the first real, it was the second entrepreneurship program I participated into, but I really credit that with kind of leapfrogging me into this veteran entrepreneurial ecosystem. And so applications are open. We're going to answer some questions that you guys have, share some highlights of the program. But before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Amy to pass around any information about what's taking place in the bunker.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, so obviously VIR applications are open. The cohort starts in July, and we're going to talk extensively about that today. I will post a link in the chat. And then we also have applications open for our Breaking Barriers and Entrepreneurship program. So that is for early stage Black, Asian American, Pacific Islander, female and or Hispanic business owners. And that is a virtual 8-week workshop program. So you can apply to that. Again, link will be in the chat. And then also we have another, to celebrate our continuing celebration of Women's History Month, we have a new post on the blog, some female veterans and military spouses you should follow in the community. That is on the blog. And then also on the blog, I want to highlight our newest spotlight on Daniela Messianic Young. She was an Army intelligence officer who overcame her upbringing in a cult to become a speaker and just an all-around awesome person. So you can check that out also on the blog. And then that's pretty much it. You can check out communities in your area to find an event near you. And we've got our showcase coming up in May, so those will be posted soon. And that's about it.
Thanks, Amy. And I do want to say this too. On Thursday, I'll be at MetLife headquarters moderating a panel on marketing for the Veterans Future Labs here in the New York City metro area. Great program, VFL. It's actually run by a Bunker Labs alumni, Alexa Modero from Backpacks for Life. She was a former Bunker Labs ambassador in New York City. So just love all around. So I'll be there this Thursday. So I'm looking forward to seeing any of y'all that are going to be there in person as well. Be great to catch up and fellowship. It's just going to be a great event. Like I said, it's great to sit behind the computer, you know, create content, do your thing. But there's nothing that beats getting in person, fellowshipping with the community. Without further ado, I get to introduce my main man, entrepreneur. He's been in the trenches, been beat up like me, Xavier Clarke. What's going on, Xavier?
Man, it's a great day here in LA, and I'm just super proud to be here speaking with you today about the Veterans and Residents program with, all of the awesomeness that it is and that it brought us to the forefront into the bunker entrepreneur ecosystem and really helped us realize what it's like to, again, be in the trenches, but also be your own man, own your own business, be your own boss, and essentially, take charge of your life and use the entrepreneur mindset to succeed. And today I'm here to talk about the Veterans and Residents program because we got applications open and we're excited to see new veterans and military spouses and military affiliated folks come into the program and start pursuing their dreams, their interests, and start launching and growing those business with the awesome community that Bunker Labs has grown over the years.
One of the many reasons VIR is near and dear to my heart. In 2017, I was in the front row at the Bunker Labs Summit in New York City when we announced the Veterans and Residents program. And I got pinged to be a community manager for that first cohort in New York City. And so I've been, part of this thing behind the scenes for many years before transitioning off both at Bunker Labs and then working as a consultant with WeWork and seeing it grow. And I'm just blown away by the number of entrepreneurs we've served and continue to serve. And so I would love to start out by just telling our viewers what exactly the Veterans and Residents is.
Absolutely. So the Veterans and Residents is a no-cost incubator program that is a 6-month-long program with 5 months of programming. We provide you essentially excellent, no cost co-working space. If there's a WeWork in your city, or if we have a partnership already existing with a co-working space in your city, we provide you an excellent community of like-minded veteran entrepreneurs. We provide you with tailored support that provides you master classes, industry meetups, office hours, the ability to do one-on-ones with expert mentors from our partners at excellent organizations like Capital One, Fiserv, and other very, very large corporations. There's also the opportunity to get out there during our showcases at the end of the program to pitch your businesses to the local business community, pull in those entities that you want to see your business, and we provide that platform. We provide that platform for you to also pull in other stakeholders to help grow the local entrepreneur ecosystem so other veterans and military spouses can thrive. So that's what the Veterans in Residence program is all about. We offer it in a hybrid format. We offer it in a virtual format. So if you can't come into one of our local offices, or if there's not a local community in the city that you live in, there's a virtual offering. And it is a powerful, powerful platform for you to be borderlessly connected across the nation with other like-minded entrepreneurs who are sharing best practices, trending, emerging trends, powerful insights based upon the sectors and industries that they're in. So one of the beautiful things about this community is everyone just wants folks to succeed. It's not this like competitive, let me edge you out type vibe. Instead, it's a place where folks are highly interested in what is your problem? What do you need to solve for? How can I help? If I can't help, who can I point you to that can help you? And that's what really, really made me love being a part of this community, is folks that feel invested in my success as much as I'm invested in their success. It's like a co-op opportunity, if you will.
I want to go ahead and give a shout out to everyone tuning in the chat. Dev, Murray, Angela, I hope I got that right. Edgar, we appreciate y'all. While we're talking too, if you have any questions for Xavier around veterans and residents, go ahead and drop those in the chat. Here's what I want to say, X. I was at the MilVet Startup Conference in early February, and Blake Hogan, the CEO of Bunker Labs, got on stage and asked everyone in the audience to stand up if they were a Bunker Labs alumni of if they were a Bunker Labs alumni of any program. Over half the room stood up. And I credit a lot of that to the Veterans and Residents program, as well as our CEO Circle ambassador. But I have noticed a shift once we start implementing this Veterans and Residents program of growing this ecosystem. And I think it's important just for me when I think about, right, like at the end of the day, everyone is not going to do Techstars. Everyone is not going to have opportunity to do Y Combinator and some of these more, I don't want to say famous, more popular incubator and accelerator programs. And what I have found is that VIR is a great launch pad for the ecosystem, because more often than not, a lot of people I've come across, they got their start in VIR at some point, or they came in there at some point.
That's right. That's right. It certainly is an excellent launch pad for those that are early stage entrepreneurs, those that have particularly already formed their company. They have realized that they are heading towards traction, have reached traction, they have revenue, and they are looking to form essentially a pathway to success by edging up, leveling up their business by connecting with folks that have already, been down that pathway, or connect them with those that can, essentially. We have, and if you're not if you haven't formed your business, if you're still in this ideation, germination phase, where you're still essentially dreaming, you haven't done any customer discovery to see if this product or service that you have conceptualized is actually going to work, then we have other programs for you. We have something called Launch Lab Online. We have Breaking Barriers. So Bunker Labs has a holistic, cohesive programming environment for you. So again, if VRR is not for you right now, check out our other courses and programs, please.
as an entrepreneur myself, I'm going to tell y'all, right? When you take that leap, right, and you separate from that corporate job, whatever it is you're doing, and you're out there in the wild, right? There is nothing better than having a space that you can go to each and every day and work from, take meetings from, make it real, right? Let's just be honest, because it can feel kind of hokey when you first start out working from your apartment or your home or whatever, but having that space that you can go into,
No doubt.
and then also bounce ideas off other people, because one thing we don't talk about enough, Xavier, is just how lonely entrepreneurship can be. You know, we have these digital relationships like all the time these days, but like if you're an entrepreneur, you don't have people to smoke and joke with, you know, at the water fountain and go grab lunch with and stuff, etc. You have to build that community, and what we don't want you to have to do is build it from scratch. So by coming into the veterans and residents, plugging into the Bunker Lab ecosystem, you're going to have other people that you can lean on and go through this entrepreneurial experience with together.
Absolutely. And part of that process is we hold each other accountable. There's milestones that you'll want to share with your fellow cohort members so that they can hold you accountable because of this lonely island space that you have as an entrepreneur. If you are there just by yourself in the weeds with your business and no one else to talk to about these unique problems that you have, it's just so challenging. And the beautiful thing about this community is like you may have 8 to 15 people in your local community, but there's 300 plus veterans and residents in your typical current nationwide cohort. But then there's thousands of alumni, and then there's hundreds of other former program participants from the CEO Circle, Breaking Barriers, who have success or who have learned from their failures, to be quite honest. And that is the tremendous value that you get from this community, is learning those insights that will otherwise take you days, months, years to figure out on your own.
I'm going to go to the chat. Marie Angela says, our brand deals with apparel products currently in North Carolina, which has a great network, but would connecting with the LA focus VRR help us connect to the apparel industry in Los Angeles? Thanks. Xavier, I'm going to turn it over to
Yeah,
you.
no doubt. There's always an opportunity to connect with someone in our local cohort. I can't guarantee you that that individual may have a connection to others in the apparel business. But there are others in the nationwide community that I'm aware of who are in the apparel business. So if you'd like to drop your name and your LinkedIn inside of the chat, I'd love to connect with you and see what you're working on and perhaps connect you with the right person, of course.
Here's what we know. A lot of veterans and military spouses, when you transition out of the military, you got to start building that professional network. Okay. Well, what does that even mean? And then you start thinking about like entrepreneurs. The beauty of what we're building at Bunker Labs with this connected community is we're helping you have that professional network, but not just on the surface level. These are people you can relate to with on the personal level, because they understand the challenges that a lot of you are facing from transitioning and serving your country and whatnot. Like when I go to these in-person events, whether it's the military influencer conference, veterans and residents, ambassador flying, it's all love. You're dapping up people, you know. When I'm taking work trips, I see who's in the area, see if they can connect, right? And it's really an opening and welcome community. But the thing is, you have to nurture the community as well. And one of the big things I've been is about giving back. What does it mean to give back? Making those connections. So like I just talked about Marie Angela talking about connections in LA. All it takes is an email introduction. Costs nothing. It takes nothing. But I'm telling you, the energy you put out is the energy that you will get back. And so it's really on all of us to elevate each other's brands and support one another.
Absolutely. Um, I definitely agree with that. I mean, there's capital involved with starting a business, and that's monetary capital, but then there's social capital. And you're very rich in this community because, as Mike said, we help grow that community that so many of us veterans and military spouses come out of service not having, because we were not in the business community, but totally entrenched with serving our country. And another beautiful thing about being in this community is you're also surrounded by servant leaders who are dedicated to supporting the mission of helping veteran military spouses start and grow their businesses and creating a thriving, flourishing ecosystem of partners and resources and contacts, mentors, advisors that can help you do such.
Michael Perstinger, our friend from Canada, not even American military, says my only contact with Bunker Labs was at the Military Influencer Conference last year, and I have never felt so included into the veteran folds as I did at that event. Appreciate you, Mike. Always a pleasure. And then Christian says, thank you for what you do for military spouses as well. Now, Xavier, I'm a brand guy. Okay. So I'm going to put you on the spot right now. You have been in the bunker just as long as me, right? What is your why? Why do you keep serving this community? And how does that translate to the work you're doing with the veterans and residents?
That's a really deep question, but it's rooted in my values. I really, really value the values of Bunker Labs. If you go to our website and you look at our values, you'll see what we're all about. We love building this community. We love building an inclusive community. We get it done with extreme results and ownership. We have 5 core values, just like Amazon has their core values. And when you're in this organization, you see people live and breathe those values. And if it weren't for those being rooted in those, I think it would be more of a loosey goosey experience. But folks are truly committed and dedicated to those values. And I think that's what's, helped me be so engaged and connected to this community the way I am.
I talked to a lot of older veterans, right, that transitioned when there wasn't a Bunker Labs and we're starting their business, and they're just blown away by the ecosystem that we've been able to build out. And I am blown away by the growth of it, and I take it for granted. It was a whole different space like 5 years ago versus to where we are now, and having people like you on the other side of the table is a big part of that. You guys don't realize how much work is done behind the scenes to make sure that these programs are getting speakers, right? Stuff is getting coordinated. I mean, it really is selfless leadership. And speaking, from my perspective, the why is I just love serving the community. I know how hard it is to be an entrepreneur. And when you're just 2 to 3 steps ahead of your peers, right? It's super impactful when you can go back and give a helping hand. Because let's be honest, out there, you're shooting in the wild. It is hard. I will never tell you being an entrepreneur isn't hard. But what we can do here is make you feel supported through these programs. And it comes from having leadership like Xavier and other members of the Bunker Labs team. So as we close out the veterans and residents part, Xavier, do you want to give one final plug for VAR and close this section out?
Absolutely. Listen, if you're a veteran, your military spouse, or you're military connected or affiliated in some way, and you've already started your business, you've already formed it, you've started doing your customer discovery, you have at least $50,000 in annual income, or you have some highly demonstrable evidence that you have reached traction, apply for the program today as soon as possible. I promise you, you won't regret it. You'll begin to immediately receive value once you're in the program, and you'll be forever eternally grateful for it. So please go to bunkerlabs.org, go to programs, find veterans and residents, click on apply today, do it now.
Is that lookbook available online so people can see just some of the caliber of entrepreneurs we've had participate in VAR?
Oh yeah, we have our lookbooks all the way back from 2018 until today. So it's a good opportunity to go in there and see who were the hundreds of entrepreneurs that have already gone through the program, and also LinkedIn stalk them, if you will. Reach out to them, ask them what their experience was. This is an excellent opportunity for the not only network, but also just learn more about how to actually succeed in an incubator yourself and how to grow your business. So go ahead, check everybody out there from 2018B up until today.
All right. Now we're going to transition into book recommendations. Xavier, what book recs do you have for our viewers today?
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite books is Traction, and that is highly connected to, Traversing the Traction Gap by Bruce Cleveland. This is super, super connected to what we're all about here at Bunker Labs. If you don't understand what your product market fit is, go and read this book so that you can discover what your product market fit is. So many folks start their business without that understanding, without knowing whether customers actually want their product. They're operating in an echo chamber and thinking that just because they like it or folks in their immediate vicinity would like these products doesn't mean that you're going to have a scalable, repeatable business. So check it out.
Yeah, Traversing the Traction Gap. That's one of my favorite books. If you see behind me, I also have Play Bigger. They're similar but different because what they do is introduce this concept of category design. Play Bigger calls it category design. In Traversing the Traction Gap, he refers to it as market engineering. And what it essentially challenges you to do is identify the market for your product or service first, massage that market, define it, clean it up for yourself, and then place your product or service in that market. And a lot of times we do it backwards, right? So we end up, coming with a great idea, and then we can go searching for a market. Oh, is this health and wellness? Is this? Is it that, right? Versus being intentional first, position that product, and then building awareness around it through thought leadership and some other things. Really, really great book. It actually deserves a deep dive, which I've been able to do. I actually had Bruce on the Transition podcast where he talked about traversing the traction gap. And it's actually one of our most popular episodes. So I highly encourage y'all to check that book out. My book recommendation for this week is Write a Must Read by AJ Harper. Craft a book that changes your life, that changes lives, including your own. I do a lot of writing behind the scenes. I published my first book, Black Veteran Entrepreneur, this year, and I have aspirations. My forthcoming book is Dog Whistle Branding. This is going to be my next book. I didn't have this when I first started. And so being able to go and do a deep dive about what it takes to craft a good book. And what I'm finding is it's actually helping me too with my podcast work, whether it's this show or some other podcasts, just really getting into the weeds of who are you writing for and why, and the importance of telling stories, which is why even when I opened up, I talked about sitting in the front row, when they unveiled the veterans in residence, right? So just a great framework for thinking about how to write and craft a book. And it's really a workshop. This is a workshop. This is a workshop in book form. So if you have aspirations of writing or publishing your own book, highly, highly, highly recommend you check out Write a Must Read. I'm like reading books these days, Xavier, like 2 to 3 times because I'm not trying to just hit them on the surface level, trying to really go deep and actually implement the stuff that I'm reading. So I'm looking forward to that. Coming up, had a great interview I released last week on the transition with AJ Orr. AJ is a Bunker Labs OG up in Columbus, Ohio, runs a cybersecurity firm, has a family of 5. You want to talk about being in the trenches as an entrepreneur and as a family man. And he really opens up about that and the struggle with finding balance in life as an entrepreneur. But we had a great interview, actually recorded that last year, but I batch a lot of content and I really want you all to check that out. And for those of you that are interested in raising capital, I'm telling y'all, we've done some great ecosystem mapping. We're not done yet. We're still going, but we've probably reviewed at least 80% of the top veteran-led venture funds on the podcast that I want you to check out. We're going to be compiling those in a blog post that's going to release next month that support a lot of you all out there. As we close out here, Xavier, any words of encouragement for our entrepreneurs as they go back into the wild?
Get out there and do it. Scared money don't make money.
That's right. My words is sales too. Stop posting on TikTok, Instagram, social media. You got to get some revenue going. Don't be afraid to talk to people. Get in front of humans. Pick up the phone. Send them an email, bro. You got to do some work. Wishing you all nothing but success. Want to shout out our sponsors for the Transition Podcast, MetLife Foundation. So excited to be headed to MetLife headquarters on Thursday and hope to see some of you there. Until next time, peace, love. Have a great rest